Well, else joining me on the Spittin Pits podcast is the pitching coach for the Pit Spitters, Rocky Mauriello. Rocky, welcome back to Traverse City, and how have you felt the first few weeks of the season has gone?
Subpar for us because we're a team that wants to compete for a championship every year. That being said, first 4 games, guys getting to know each other. We were in some close games. Of course, first 4 didn't go our way. I feel like since that first 4, we've really started to find a groove. We're playing pretty good ball, so pretty excited the rest of the way.
You spent some time in the Pioneer League, was it, last summer?
Mm-hmm.
Pitching coach. Took a couple-year hiatus from Traverse City. Now you're back. I mean, what kind of went into maybe foregoing the Pioneer League and coming back to the Northwoods and joining Coach T?
Yeah, well, the Pioneer thing, it was just worked out. They had a friend that needed somebody to come up and help them for the last month and a half or so of the season, so it wasn't a thing like I chose to go there. I wasn't initially going to do anything. I've just been having to recruit the past couple summers, but I really was hungry to come back here because I love it up here over the summer. I love the culture here in Traverse City, so I pushed hard for my skipper back home to give me the opportunity to come up here, and he let me, so I'm pretty excited about it.
A little bit of a change of pace too. I mean, you coached with Todd Reed the last time you were up here, but Josh Rebant was the field manager then. Of course, now he's with Western Michigan. And how does it feel? Was it weird at first not having Reeves up here, or was it just kind of like business as usual? Now Reeves just isn't around.
Yeah, because it almost feels like it's Reeves' program.
Yeah.
But that being said, T has always been his right-hand man, and T was very, very clear from the beginning, I want to carry on the things that he did. He made this place special. A lot of people made this place special, but we're going to do things as similarly as we can to how Reeves did it. And so the culture and everything like that, it's just picking up right where we left off.
Yeah, and I feel like at least one thing that I've noticed in this early season, if you kind of presume that role that T was to Reeves, you are now, T's T. You are his right-hand man, and very passionate towards him, the guys, the team in general, and I'm sure that spans across all levels that you coach at. But I mean, what a part of that really brings the passion out of you during games?
I just love to compete, and I love guys that love to compete. And when you create relationships with guys, and you know how much work they put into it, and they get these opportunities in big spots, it's hard not to care and to get very excited about it. And so that spills out for better or worse sometimes. And T's always been that same way. He's just very passionate, and I don't think you should hide when you care about something, and that's something that I've been pretty clear about in my career. Is if I care, I'm not going to be afraid to show that I care.
Yeah, and one of the things too, or I guess what I was going to ask was, I've seen you get out of the dugout. I've seen you get animated a couple times already here this season. Have you ever been tossed? And do you think that's going to be a first this summer?
I'm not going to get tossed this summer. I toe the line sometimes more than I should. I've never been tossed at the collegiate level. As an assistant coach, you should not get tossed, and I've got to remind myself that a lot. But no, I'm not going to get tossed. I've never been tossed as an assistant coach. It's not going to happen this summer.
This past road trip, of course, now we're a series into this 8-game homestand, but this past road trip showcased a lot of highs and lows for this pitching staff, one of which was the series finale in Kenosha, which you can't really even consider it a low. It was just, one bad inning. Yeah, but the hometown boy, Jack Griffiths, threw 6 innings of no-hit ball, and you always see it where no one talks to a pitcher during that moment, but I feel like Jack, anyway, it was I've never seen somebody in his pregame routine just more animated, more outgoing, because I feel like a lot of pitchers are just kind of to themselves on start day. But is that like your philosophy, or is that something that you're like, how do you coach like a player through like those tough times, like those not tough times, but like those hard moments of like going through a no-hitter, especially when you're, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's still kind of far.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I didn't even know it was a no-hitter until about the 4th or 5th inning. And I was talking with T about, the bullpen and what I wanted to do. And he was making some comments. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, do you not notice anything about the scoreboard right now? And it took me way too long to figure out. But no, I think it's per individual. For Jack, he likes to stay loose. He's kind of a funny and goofy at times kid. And if that's his personality, then to try to like make it overly serious is like, it's just not natural for him. Versus like a Garmin, like he's locked in, like, and so you just, you figure out what your guys need and you let them be them, I think.
Now, he was pulled after 6, pitch count was up there. Now the game's in the bullpen's hands, and that's not an easy spot to come into because it's almost like you're walking a line. Do you say anything to those? Trevor Landon came in. Do you say anything to him when he comes out there, or do you just kind of let them go out there and be his thing? And if you lose it, you lose it. Or, obviously it's a big accomplishment. Everybody wants to get there, but.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you never talk about no-hitter during a no-hitter, right? Yeah. So it wasn't like, hey, like, but I just told him to go out there and compete. Like, be loose, be you. And I thought he did a great job. I really thought he looked good. He was filling up the zone, had really good feel for his fastball. And I thought he did fantastic despite the outcome of the game.
Yeah, and now, a big thing with the Northwoods League is there's constantly guys coming and going, and it's hard to keep a same chemistry, and it might take a couple days for them to lock in. But it feels like now, especially starting today and yesterday, a lot of the full-time guys are now in. And how do you get that gel to happen quickly so this team can make? I know it's not just you, but how this team can try to make a push towards and get back to the top and win the first half.
I think it's something that comes natural to them. Like I don't think you have to, take them out for a team building exercise for them to start to like each other. And even those first 4 days, like where nobody really knew each other, and it was like they wanted to get behind each other, but they didn't even know each other's names. It's like it was just they were trying so hard because they're really good kids, and it just wasn't natural. But as they spend more time together, long road trips, early work, they're going to get more and more comfortable with each other. And then you add in a few goofball personalities that keep things light, which I think we've added a couple of them, and it just starts to come natural. And so it's a pretty fun group to be around in the dugout and the clubhouse right now.
Now you're talking about long road trips, and there's a long one coming up here in about a week or so. You've been around the league a time or two. Where's your favorite place to go to? Let's stick in the East Division and then go to the West.
I do like Kenosha a lot. I think that their atmosphere and the fans, they do a really good job. The place, since it's been turfed and they've made some updates with the netting, and it looks fantastic. But I'm a big like the environment and energy, and like it's a cool energy there in Kenosha.
Yeah, the fans are definitely on top of each other. Now in the West, I know the schedule is kind of changed things up, so you don't always get to see everybody. But at this point, I feel like you've probably been to mostly everybody on the West. What's a must go to spot for fan maybe traveling on the road?
So from what I remember Madison being pretty fun. I mean, like, everybody talks about that park. It's just a unique, park there. And I really like some fields with a little personality. Green Bay is definitely a cool one with the live music down the line, the short field and right, like with the ridiculously sized wall. And it's just a really pretty field. So I'd say those two are probably a couple of my favorites.
Now, there's already been a couple of guys on this pitching staff that have been signed to an independent ball contract. One, Mason Hill, another Mitch Grannon, who you have been around since the very, very start, especially at Maryville. I mean, talk about Mitch Grannon, and he is just over the last couple of years here anyway, he has just been one of the best guys in that pitching staff.
Well, if I talk about him too much, I'll get emotional because I love that kid. He's an absolute competitor. He's coachable, and he's worked his tail off to get to that spot. So I'm really excited and proud for him. No, you see him because I got him in his sophomore year at Maryville, where he was talented, but very green still, and just continued to get better and better. And then, when I got him up here, all the small school kids, when they come up here, it's like they're not really sure if they can do it up here.
Okay.
That's how it's always been, and that's one of my favorite things is watching some of these really talented small school kids come in and be like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
And you see the confidence continue to grow and grow, and then you send them back to their schools even better because they build that confidence. But that was definitely the case for Mitch, man. He came in, I know he was a little nervous to be up here, and then he just ran with it.
I remember night one when he came in, and I was super excited to see him, mainly because of one of his pitching quirks was, at the time, it was his high leg kick. And I mean, why did he do that? What was it with because it was like he was punting a football every time he went to pitch.
He just felt like it gave him momentum, and he was always very mobile, and he takes his mobility really seriously, and so it was just something that felt good for him. And then as his career developed, there was a couple games where he was working a lot better out of the stretch, and so we're like, hey, like, if you're feeling better and the velo's there, continue to go out of the stretch. And so then he kind of ran with that and grew in comfortability, and so the leg kick unfortunately went away, but that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, he came in, dominated, and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun to have him down the stretch, and he definitely made an impact. So going forward with Maryville, how are things going on down there? What exciting things do you guys have happening down there?
A lot. I mean, the past couple seasons have been the two best seasons in school history. Our coach, Coach Helton, he's an alumni, and really loves the place and does an awesome job. Our hitting coach, Andrew Henry, also alumni. And then, our first base coach, alumni. So our whole staff right now is alumni, and we all just love the program so much. Like, it means so much more to us to win at our alma mater. And so that comes out, and I think our players pick up on that. And Coach Helton's a really good recruiter, and so he's brought in some good players, but he's brought in some really good kids that love Maryville College. I mean, you talk about a kid like Nick Marabella or Mitch Cranon, like, they love Maryville. They're talented enough to play at a lot of places, but they love Maryville College. And so I feel like we got a lot of players like that. And when you do, you just continue to go, and we're every year, I feel like, taking a step forward. And so hopefully we continue doing that.
Last couple of questions as we wrap up here. Who? I know you probably talk something special about every one of these guys on this pitching staff, but who stands out to you, and like, who is somebody to keep an eye on and could maybe really turn some heads, heading down, this stretch into the first half and into the second?
I mean, it's tough because there is a lot of talented kids. I mean, obviously, what Jack Griffiths has done through his first two starts is really impressive. The fastball is so live. He's so loose. I think Trevor Landon's going to be one that you're going to, rough first outing, but how he's looked the past two outings has been really impressive. You got an arm talent kid like Jalen Merchant that, as he grows in confidence, you could really see him have a successful summer. Man, I don't want to leave anybody out. We got a lot of kids that I think are going to be a lot of fun. Logan Peaker right now, his first outing was electric. Yeah. I mean, the pitchability. So we got him again tonight. Pitchability, I told him when he came off the mound in the second inning, I was like, dude, you look like a veteran. Like, you look like such a professional in your pitchability. So, we got a lot of summer left, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of more fun stories, but those are just a couple.
And we'll end on this question. You were part of the coaching staff during that 2021 championship run. what is your favorite memory? I mean, obviously, probably the championship game, but what is your favorite memory? Like, what is something that about that team that you you go back and you reminisce on often?
I reminisce on the championship day. So, two things. One, the work ethic of the kids. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, we went to the Y after a 12-hour ride or whatever it was the day of the championship game. And, I mean, you're talking about half the team is just drenched in sweat, like, from working out at the Y on championship day. When you think they'd be taking it light, like, they had such a drive just to get better. It was really impressive to watch. But I remember being in the dugout before the start of the game, and I said to T, I was like looking around at the goofballs that we had, and I was like, we're gonna win the Northwood League Championship with the island of misfit toys. Like we have Cam Schulke, who's mid-80s but throws from 2 slots and just funky as can be. Pat Holefield, who's like not what you would typically think. I mean, they're running out 94-mile-an-hour arms left and right, and we're running out guys that are in the mid to upper 80s that are just funky and different. Bucalair, who closed out the game, and so it's just fun. Like, the drive of the group was really impressive, but just the different personalities that came together, it was cool to watch.
Well, Rocky, thank you, and best of luck for the rest of the way, and hopefully we can get back to the promised land once more here this August.
Let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now joining me is the left-handed pitcher for the Pit Spitters out of Germantown, Tennessee. He's just finishing up his first season at Wofford College. It's Charlie Horne. Welcome, Charlie.
Welcome to be here.
Well, first off, we'll start there. I mean, how was your first season at Wofford? I know you didn't really pitch, but how was it?
It was definitely a learning curve. I didn't have a great fall going into it, and I got redshirted, but that leaves me with another year for potential grad school, so it's not the end of my path.
Well, awesome. Well, I mean, it is tournament season still with college ball. Unfortunately for the guys that are here, that means your team is eliminated. But with that being right around the corner, last spring, a team that was making the headlines all around the country was Birmingham Southern, and a D3 school that was shutting down following the 2023-2024 academic school year. And we'll get into it more in a second, but how does it, I mean, you pitched for Birmingham Southern. How does it feel, or how does it make you feel that you've once played for a school that doesn't exist anymore, let alone a school that you had a ton of success at?
As weird it is for a school to just disappear, it sticks with you in a weird way. I'll forever be known as the BSC guy, or the guy whose school doesn't exist anymore, and it's cool. Playing with those guys was truly something amazing. I've never felt more of a oneness with a team. We started, I don't know how much you've read about our situation, but we started the year battling 500, one of the worst historic years our program's had in a long time. And we got the news on spring break, just a normal meeting, and we didn't have that was supposed to be our off day. We just got back from a long road trip, and we all just went out in the field and started throwing together, and at that point, it really felt like everything clicked, and we came together as a team. I think after that, in the regular season, we went 17-2 or something around there, and we were just playing with some sort of freeness and oneness as a team that I've never seen before.
It's kind of one of those things where you don't really have much to lose.
Yeah, it was like you'd almost think there'd be more pressure on there, but it was the most free I've ever played. It was like, we're closing either way. Might as well try and win.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and right around spring break time is kind of almost the halfway point in everybody's season. You guys got hot towards the end of the regular season, and you guys got swept in the conference tournament going into that. But you guys had a decent record at that point, relatively. And did you guys think you were going to make the big dance going into that?
I did not think we were going to make it. That was kind of our first set at playoff baseball, was at the SAA championship. And at that time we had a four-peat going on 5. So we felt a little pressure there, and I think we forced ourselves a little too much, and we didn't really play well and got swept we didn't even make it to the Final Four of our tournament, which was, I thought that was the way it ended, and it was really sad, and seeing all the seniors, it just broke my heart, and I was really glad we got another shot at it because we came for revenge.
Yeah, and once you guys got into that regional, you guys had to face the 2 seed and the 1 seed right off the bat. You were a pitcher, but what was the mindset of you and the team heading into those games?
We took it one game at a time. We didn't look ahead because the year before we were slated to we hosted a regional and we were slated to host the Supers, and we were looking ahead and lost game 1. We ended up fighting back and winning 4, but we lost it in the last game of the regional. So it was just take it one game at a time, and really just it doesn't matter who our opponent is. Let's just play our style of baseball.
Yeah, and, regional championship Sunday, you guys had a rematch with that 2 seed Transylvania University, who y'all smoked a couple days prior. I'm sure y'all knew it was going to be hard to do that again, but you came through with a 5-2 victory, and you even earned the win in that game. How stressful was that outing, knowing that championship in the next round was so close?
That was our 3rd game of the regional by then, and we already played 2 really good opponents. And as you keep getting deeper into that postseason schedule and you're looking at the scouting reports, the teams it's like, geez, these stats just keep getting higher and higher. They had a really good player, so it was kind of just pitch around him and then attack the other guys, and it worked out for us, and it was a great championship, great venue at that park.
Now, on to the Super Regional. Y'all only had to play 2 games with the way the format is, which I'm sure is very, very nice. Beating the same team twice, nonetheless. In that Super Regional, you had to come on in the bottom of the 9th inning for the final out. The tying and winning runs were on base, and those type of situations, that's what you want in your shoes. And heading into that bat, how nerve-wracking is it to know that one minor error in the team's run is done?
That was, I don't know how much you've read into that story either, but we had a lot of adversity that day. We all got food poisoning, or 15 of us did. I was unfortunately one of them, and I wasn't even jerseyed up for the game. I was on a table with a frog tog on my face for the first 5 innings. My mom was trying to get me to go to the ER, and I just wouldn't go. I got an IV. And then my pitching coach came out and said, "Go get started warming up," and I wasn't even in a jersey.
Did you even care? You were like, okay, yeah.
I was at first. I was like, "Is there other guys who could throw?" Because the day before our starter went the whole game, so we had the whole bullpen ready. But some big pieces went down, and some people were called upon in a time, and everyone did their part. So,
well, when that final out was made for that Super Regional Championship, how relieved were you after everything that your team went through that day?
I'll never forget that moment. I came into the game and I felt awful. I hit the backstop 4 of 8 times in warm-ups. They were heckling me.
Oh boy.
And right as they called play ball, I knew I had to focus in and just get one pitch over the plate that they might hit on the ground, and I ran a sinker over the plate and they hit it to the shortstop, and after that, it was a dog pile, and I'll always remember that moment.
Well, so now the next run, game 1 of the World Series, you guys dropped the first one. Game 2, it was the walk-off home run. I think that was really when the entire you put the entire country on notice. I think there was a lot of grumblings of what was going on. But yeah, that whole clip, the whole country saw. You got the win, and you got the win in that game. And to be a part of that home run, tell me what that feeling is like, because I'm sure it's got to be because if it was me, I'd probably be blacking out with how excited I was for my teammate.
I was so excited when he hit that home run. To put that game in reference, we were coasting up the whole time, and then we lost the lead and we're down by 3, and I came in for an out, stopped the bleeding, and then our offense came back, tied it up in the bottom of the 8th. I came back out, just did my thing. I had a job to do and to get one more 0, and fortunately enough, in the bottom of the 9th, we hit a home run to walk it off.
Now, unfortunately, your all season came to an end, and so did the baseball program. One of the big headlines around the country was the school was already shut down while you guys were still playing ball. Was that something that you guys chatted about throughout the clubhouse, or rather, how did that make you guys feel, like knowing that you guys were still playing for school that didn't even exist anymore?
It was exhilarating. it felt unreal until the day we got back, and I realized I'd never see any of these guys in a uniform again, and it was just sad. We were given a week to move out of our already closed school, and I left on the last day.
Oh, wow.
I took my time getting out of there.
That's awesome. Well, so now at the new program for Wofford, I mean, why did you choose Wofford?
Wofford was very similar academically with Birmingham Southern, and for a lot of people, unfortunately, graduating in the 4 years, all their time was lengthened. So it was great that I could find a spot where I could get done in 4 and get a good degree at it too.
Yeah, and Birmingham Southern's still making headlines today. A bunch of you guys had to find new homes, and one of your teammates recently just went viral in the baseball world. Andrew Dutton spent some time as the first base coach for Auburn, and then on senior day he goes deep in his first ever at bat for Auburn. I mean, from you personally, how crazy was that to see? Did you guys have a group chat? Was that going off? Or
he's one of my good buddies, and I was proud to see it. He's been not really getting to play all year, and he went with his brother, and he's been coaching first, which is pretty. It doesn't get much farther down the totem pole, so it was cool to see him get in and do his thing like I know he could.
Well, now switching off of the college scene, flipping to the summer college scene. Last night, first home game as a Pit Spitter. I mean, what did you think about the large crowd? It was the largest opening day crowd in Pit Spitter's history, and you guys had a pretty big win last night.
It was cool to look out on the crowd and see all the smiling faces, and I was excited to get the game rolling, and thankfully we got a win, first game home.
Yeah,
I mean, you've spent some time in other summer collegiate leagues, but I know it's only been a week really. But what's so different about the Northwoods League, the Pit Spitters, compared to other leagues? Not to trash any other place you've played at, but what makes it so much different?
I mean, you can't really ask for more out of this stadium. It holds a lot. It's beautiful, and it's a good playing surface.
Well, thanks, Charlie. I really appreciate you.
Of course.
And, I mean, it was a good conversation.
Thank you for having me.